Introducing the new Volvo XC90 with 7-seat versatility, Google built-in, and advanced safety features for all your precious cargo. The new Volvo XC90, designed for life. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This summer, try the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage at Starbucks. It's the classic blended iced coffee you know and love, now topped with a creamy layer of handcrafted brown sugar cold foam. Available for a limited time. Your Strato Frappuccino is ready at Starbucks.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Hello and welcome to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We are so excited to bring you this show.
Our podcast is all about unraveling all of your favorite mysteries from the Assassin's Creed games. Each episode we'll be talking about a different topic in the Assassin's Creed universe. From Pieces of Eden, solar flares, and the Isu, to the Hidden Ones, the Order of Ancients, and of course, the Animus. We will seek to uncover it all.
So join us and maybe even take a leap of faith.
Assassin's Creed Lorecast. My name is Shelby. You also know me as She-Cup. And we are back with another episode. And this is another Assassin versus Templar episode.
Yeah. So I'm Austin, also known as Teacup, just to introduce myself. We're back with our Assassin versus Templar. We do have more to cover through Shadows. So I've been trying to do one Shadows overview and then a character. But as we get closer to the release, we might be doing double back just so I can get through it all. But with that, we're talking today about Henry, King of Portugal, which was a really interesting, not really, I don't think, well-known historical figure, but I found him interesting. And the reason that we're talking about him is because he's King of Portugal between 1578 and 1580. And if you don't know, Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in 1579.
Just that 1 year.
That's what that's where it begins, I think. Okay. So I don't know, but I think that's what we're looking at. But that's really interesting to me because, and if you're wondering why Portugal, so Europeans, obviously, like, this is the prime age of colonization. You know, colonization really gets into its swing in the 1500 or the 15th century, 1400s, the end of that. And then, so we're in like the full swing of colonization. All these European powers are trying to colonize the world. Well, Portugal is the first European country to land on the island of Japan. and they land during this time and create a relationship in the Sengoku period, especially with the shogunate and all of these warlords that are moving around. And so the Portuguese are going to play a big role in Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's just, if they don't, Ubisoft is doing a disservice to the historical time period. Like, this is just the truth. Like, the Portuguese are there, and they keep the Japanese island a secret from the rest of Europe.
But yeah, and we know that they are in the game because we've seen from trailers, like, there is at least a couple Portuguese Templars that are making waves, doing their stuff.
Right. So I thought it would be interesting let's talk about who is in charge of Portugal during this time. Just because I thought it would be interesting to see, are they a Templar? Are they assassin? What's happening? So Henry, King of Portugal, is King of Portugal from 1578 to 1580. That is 2 years. So that is
not very long.
Very short reign. I think our I know it's not quite the same, but like our shortest term president was 4 months, maybe 6 months. I forget which one it was, but
it's one of the Harrisons. I think it's Benjamin Harrison. And you know why he's the shortest?
Because he's
dumb. It's
dumb.
like my pet peeve. It's of U.S. history. He has the shortest term as president because he gave a 2-hour speech or something at his inauguration, which is in January, and it was terrible cold weather, just bad weather, and he got pneumonia and died.
Yep. Because he didn't wear a coat.
I don't know if that's true. I'm looking up if it's William Henry or Benjamin. No, it is William Henry Harrison, and it's not even 4 months. It's 3 weeks after his inauguration.
3-week president. All right. But yeah, 2 years is not that long as a king. You'll find that he actually rules Portugal a little bit longer than that, but he's not technically king. But we'll get into that. He's nicknamed the Chaste King, or the Cardinal King, which is going to be really interesting later. The younger brother of King John III. And he was King of Portugal and an Inquisitor, and a cardinal of the Catholic Church.
It's so funny to me, back then in these time periods, how they could have so many titles. You could never be a cardinal of the Catholic Church and become King of France today, yeah. King of Portugal today.
You might be able to, but it depends.
No way.
So let's talk about some of these titles that he has, and just for people who are not familiar with the Catholic Church's setup. So this Inquisitor title is not one that is used currently in the Catholic Church. It's more a historical title. So you all know, hopefully you have heard, at least recently, of the Spanish Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition was this movement from the Catholic Church and the monarchy of Spain to basically root out all threats to Christianity out of Spain. And it was terrible, and it was a terrible time, and it mainly targeted Jewish people. Well, there was also inquisitions in Rome, and there were inquisitions in Portugal, which I did not know before researching this. So this was started to root out Jewish converts to Catholicism who were thought to secretly been practicing Judaism. So in the Spanish Inquisition, they basically took all the Jews and said, you can either leave Spain or you can convert to Catholicism. And that was what you were told to do. And so these Portuguese Jews who had converted to Catholicism, they thought, oh, they just converted in name. We're going to find the people who are actually still secretly practicing Judaism. Which here is a fun fact. So, as you know, Shelby, and you might know Judaism, when they practice the Sabbath, you're not really supposed to work on the Sabbath. So you prepare all the food and meals before the Sabbath so that you're not cooking or doing anything like that. And you would clean your house before that because you're not allowed to clean or do anything like that. Well, one of the ways they would catch these Catholic converts that were secretly still practicing Judaism is they would come and inspect to see if their house was clean. on Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And what Jewish people would do is they would sweep all the dirt and dust under a rug, bring it out Friday morning for them to inspect, and then sweep it back under the rug. And that's where the phrase "sweep it under the rug" comes from.
That is fascinating. I did not know that about the idiom.
Yeah.
Figure of speech.
Yeah. But that's one of my fun facts that I share a lot. So I think that they also here discovered in this Inquisition Spanish Jews who fled to Spain during the Spanish Inquisition that fled to Portugal. So Henry is one of these inquisitors, and so I find this interesting that the other main goal of the Portuguese Inquisition is to stop the Bible from being printed in any other language than Latin, which is really, really interesting because like the Reformation has reformed. Like, so the Reformers have really established and split away from the Catholic Church at this point, because we're almost 70 years removed we're 60 years removed from Martin Luther nailing his theses on the chapel and starting the Protestant Reformation. And so one of his big things was, let's print the Bible in the language of the people so people can read the Bible. Catholic Church didn't like that. So it's interesting to me that so later they're trying to, instead of reforming and trying to hear the criticisms, they're cracking down harder on.
I mean, I do think that's generally how people behave when they're presented with a criticism. It's like, no, I'm going to keep doing it more. But I do find the timing interesting because, like, we're talking about 1580. We're talking about 1578. Like, Queen Elizabeth I, she's already Queen of England. Like, England is Protestant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Church of England is a thing now and will be forevermore. So I just think the timing of it is interesting. Like, we're not talking about 1520. We're not talking about the timeline right after Martin Luther nails his theses to the door in Germany. Like, we're talking about 50 plus years later.
Right. And this is really interesting for the context and will make sense especially to Shelby, but Philip II is King of Spain at this point. And
so King Henry is trying to keep up with Philip.
Yes. Well, and like his predecessor, King Sebastian, was like that. But Philip is, if you don't know about Philip II of Spain, he is the most Catholic king that Spain has ever had. And he is basically a super Catholic who really cracks down really hard on Protestants. And, it's one of the reasons that Spain and England go to war a lot is because of Philip and everything like that. But also at one point when Mary I is Queen of England, he is King Consort of England, Philip II.
Interesting. So another thing, I just looked this up, the Council of Trent is Catholicism's response to the Protestant Reformation. And I wanted to look up the dates of that to see if that provided any context. And the Council of Trent does take place from 1545 to 1553, which is only about like 15 years before King Henry's reign. So I think that does provide a little bit of like, okay, they're trying to respond to this response. And if you don't know, the Council of Trent's response is basically anything that the Protestants said was bad. There's nothing wrong with us. We're fine. We're done. So,
but they do get rid of indulgences.
I mean, sure. But everything else they said was wrong. We're fine.
Mm-hmm. Anything like they get rid of indulgences, but anything that threatens the like power of the papacy, the power of like holding the Latin Mass, the Bible in Latin, they're like, no, we're going to hold that. But it's interesting to me because like this gives rise to a sect of Catholicism that is going to bother Protestants for like the next 100 years, and that's the Order of the Jesuits. Which, if you don't know about the Jesuits, they still exist today.
A lot of the universities that are Catholic are Jesuit universities.
Mm-hmm. And they do a lot of good things. Like nowadays, they focus a lot on mission and other things like that. Shelby's Catholic bias is gonna show it a little bit, but they do. But
silent.
They started as like super Catholics, defenders of the faith, who were going to come in and defend the faith from Protestants. They just sometimes also defended the faith from Protestants by finding Protestants and beating them to an inch of their life.
And also just killing them.
Yes. But yeah, so that's what Henry is an inquisitor. So he actually rises to Grand Inquisitor of the Portuguese Inquisition. And so I think this is all of this little detour that we have taken is to point to show like he is deeply embedded into the Catholic Church.
Right, which I think is a great transition into your next point, into him as a cardinal.
A cardinal. So if you are, again, unaware, the cardinal is one of the highest ranking offices within the Catholic Church. There really is only one office that is above a cardinal, and that is the Pope. In fact, the Pope is elected from the cardinals. Like the cardinals meet and they elect the Pope from their members. Except when they don't, and there's about like 7 exceptions of popes who were not cardinals.
I mean, and to be fair, 7 from the time of the early centuries to now is not that many.
No. But there are exceptions. I just want to accept that if there are super Catholic studies people or Catholic historians who are like, well, yes, I understand that there are exceptions to the cardinal. But generally, like Pope Francis, he was a cardinal before he was Pope. This is generally what happens. And this ties in, as a cardinal, Henry's main focus was bringing the Jesuits into Portugal. So again, like trying to crack down on let's be super Catholic, which I think is part of like, if you are unaware of geography, Portugal is like the westernmost coast of Spain. Like it's a little cutout country from Spain. So I get it. Like when you have a king like Philip II to your closest neighbor, who you're basically almost completely surrounded by, your only way out is the sea. You can't get anywhere else without by land without going through Spain.
You can't piss them off. Like,
yes.
You just can't.
If you want to survive, you can't have war. Portugal can't really have war with Spain. They do have war with Spain throughout their history, but it's not a good idea. So this is really, it makes sense to me, him doing this. So Henry did rule Portugal before he was officially king because he served as regent for his great-nephew, King Sebastian, before he became old enough to be king, replacing his sister-in-law, who was married to his brother and is Sebastian's grandmother. So basically what happens is King John has a son who dies very, very young, and then King John dies and King Sebastian ascends the throne, but he's too young to take the throne. So his grandmother, the Dowager Queen, takes over, but then she resigns her role in 1562 and Henry steps in to do that. King Sebastian died in a disastrous battle in 1578. Basically, this battle is in Morocco, and there is a name for the battle, but I tried to pronounce it like 6 times while making these show notes and couldn't really figure it out. So I'm just not going to attempt to butcher it. But if you look up King Sebastian of Portugal, you can find the name of the battle. But it's in Morocco, and basically what happens is this leader rises up, and his uncle, basically the Sultan, takes over, and King Sebastian allies with this disposed sultan to take back, and the battle goes super poorly, and he dies in it. So this puts Henry, he is the last of the line of this family, of this, like, there is no one else. He has to be king because there is no one else, and they don't want to give it up to another noble family, which makes sense. Like, it's kind of like a designated survivor situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're here and it's in this role because everyone else is dead.
You're the last. You're the last one.
Yes. in light of this, and this is really interesting from an ecclesial, a church-wide stance of point, Henry requests from the papacy a release from his vow of celibacy so that he could take a wife and continue the family line. Pope Gregory XIII, out of fear of angering Philip of Spain, denies his request.
It's very interesting to me on a number of levels. Number one, I think that there is understanding, like there is theological reasons to not release him from the vow of celibacy. Yes. But the real reason is not because of the theology. It's because the Pope is afraid of a king.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's just kind of like, you're the leader of his religion. He's not going to wage a war against you.
Right. But I mean,
sure, he could like campaign to get rid of you as the Pope. But also, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to me that like this Pope is almost beholden to the King of Spain.
Right. But think about like the time frame, especially as you're talking about watching England. Henry VIII, before he wants to get divorced, was called the champion of the Catholic faith.
Yeah,
and then the Pope said something that Henry didn't disagree with, and bingo bango, here's the Church of England.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess like we have hindsight of that's 2020,
mm-hmm.
and we're looking at this like with our modern eyes and saying there's no way Spain would like leave the Catholic Church in this era at least. But they didn't know that then.
Right. And also Spain has a much bigger army than England at this point in history. So that's really, any other thoughts on Henry? I don't have a lot of like things he enacted other than like he's super Catholic.
Well, I mean, he was only really ruler for a few years, so.
Right. We can go to the mid-break after this, and after that we'll kind of talk about his ending. Which I think really like his death and what happens after that really colors where I think that he is.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Where he lies.
Well, let's go to the mid-break.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab, LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Love espresso, drip coffee, and cold brew? With the Ninja Luxe Cafe, if you can crave it, you can brew it. Espresso, balanced. Drip coffee, rich. Cold brew in a flash. With Barista Assist technology, you brew with no stress and no guesswork and make perfect silky microfoam hands-free from dairy or plant-based milks. Shop the Ninja Luxe Cafe at ninjakitchen.com.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Ma cos'è? Shoot! Shoot a flying demon!
Quite a carriage you got there. Where did you buy it, if you don't mind me asking?
Ask all you want, Freddy. You'll never get an answer.
Damn it all. Was it my eyebrows?
Yes, and your face, voice, and body.
What have you done?
We used them. They were not ready for firing. You could have gotten us all killed. Let me see. His breath is more fatal than our cannons. Only when you two fools are shooting them. There, try it.
All right, welcome to the middle of the show. This is where we take time to talk about all the things that have to do with the Assassin's Creed lore cast and not the lore of Assassin's Creed. So the first thing we do every week is thank all of our amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. And if you would like to become a patron, it is the best way to support us, and you can join for as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/aclorecast. And if you can't financially support us, the next best way to do so is to leave us a rating or a review or a comment of any kind so other people can find our show and know that it's a good show to listen to. So I do have one today that comes from B. Doherty, who commented on our Assassin's Creed Shadows combat episode and said, "Hi, Cups. Just like to say that your podcast is the best and I love it so much. I find you guys relaxing and funny. Never stop what you're doing. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave us that awesome review." And I don't have any Assassin's Creed playthrough updates for you because I'm currently playing Divinity Original is it Original Sin?
2.
Divinity Original Sin 2 is the game I'm currently playing. I'm in the beginning. So if you like that game, definitely hop in our Discord and talk to us about it. I'm having a great time taking a break from Assassin's Creed until Shadows comes out, which, let's be honest, Austin's going to play it first and then I'll play it after him. So
maybe even a year and a half later. Like Mirage.
No, it won't be that long. It won't be that long. Probably after I finish Divinity and Tales of the Shire, which comes out very soon. So anyway, that's all I have to tell you about in the middle of the show, so we can get back into it.
All right.
You set the table, put on a playlist, even made the lasagna from scratch. And now you're wearing it. OxyClean Max Force Spray tackles tough, set-in stains the first time. Adulting is hard. Fighting stains shouldn't be. OxyClean Max Force. It's not clean unless it's OxyClean.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo Pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Today's top story, the flavor merger of the century between the Peanut Butter Group and Chocolatey Corp. Joining me is a PBC executive.
Thanks for having me, Barry.
Now, how did you know the merger and the byproduct of it, Jif peanut butter and chocolate flavored spread, would be a success?
You know, it was a gut feeling, a rumbling, if you will. Besides, they're two titans of taste.
Very true. Goes great with pretzels.
And pancakes.
Apples too, I bet. Try Jif PBC today.
Malaka. But that madman, the self-proclaimed Bishop of the Ruins, is our biggest critic. He calls our playing the devil's bagpipes.
I will sleep with anyone as long as they agree to be executed in the morning.
Like Xantivis.
He was well satisfied with his bargain. Who is this toothsome fellow?
My queen, this is,
Well?
It is a generous offer, but I've already pledged my life to this woman.
Aya, you have chosen well.
All right. So, as we know, Henry dies in 1580, leaving the royal family without a clear successor.
How old was he in 1580? Like, he could have been that old.
I mean, if he was a cardinal, it's possible.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Bold of him to think he would father a child in that short amount of time at his big age then.
I mean,
it's possible.
I mean, men are fertile their entire life.
I mean, sure, but that doesn't mean they can actually, like, have a child when they're 80.
Right.
Most men cannot do that.
Right. Philip II of Spain, he seeks to control Portugal.
Shocker.
He sends the Duke of Alba to claim Portugal by force. Lisbon falls in the disarray, and Philip is declared King of Portugal, making him king of Spain, Morocco, and king Portugal, and king consort of England.
Not at this time. Not by 1580. Queen Elizabeth doesn't get married.
There's something at the point of Mary the First. He was at one point king consort of England.
But not by this point in time.
So at one point he has been basically king of the entire westernmost portion of Europe. England.
Not France, though.
Not France, but the territory retains its autonomy and was not absorbed into Spain, but King Philip is king of Portugal as a result of this. So, is this man an assassin or Templar? This bitch was a Templar. 100%. I think he was a Templar. I think he rose up to be maybe, a high-ranking Templar in Portugal and thought that he could establish his own right as Grand Master. And I think that Philip of Spain found out about this, arranged his death, and took Spain as himself, because I think Philip of Spain is a Grand Master of the Templar Order.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me, this person would be a Templar, but I don't necessarily think... I could see him not being super swayed by all of the Templar ideology and just, kind of doing it because, it's what he thinks King Philip wants him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's so concerned with, pleasing King Philip. He could have, after the Pope said, no, you can't have children, he could have fathered a bastard child and declared that bastard his heir. But he doesn't do that because he's too afraid of what Philip and the Pope will say.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, this is very much indicative of a person who is not necessarily a person who doesn't necessarily have a strength of character. Someone who's very swayed by other people, by the people around them. So to me, this is a person who is not a leader, but who is someone who's being led by someone else. And that's not a good look when you're a Templar, because like you've said, that just means you're going to get played.
Right. And I also think, I forgot to mention this in the early show notes, but he joins the clergy, his orders as a priest and an inquisitor, because he wants to further Portuguese interest in the Catholic Church.
Right. Right.
So he does that because he wants to represent Portugal within the Catholic Church, which is why he rises all the way to cardinal.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. And I do think I agree with you that Philip is the one that wants to ascend the rank of Grand Master. And that his goal is, let me take over all of Europe. Mm-hmm. And he's well on his way.
Right.
Not to mention the colonization of the Americas that he funds.
Exactly.
And we haven't even talked about that at all.
Uh-uh.
This man wants to take over the world, and he's halfway there.
Right. And it's really important to this point, which I think, still to this point, this pre-Golden Age of piracy, the 1400s to the end of the 1500s, that 200 years would be interesting to cover, which we have in Italy. But, the Borgias just got overthrown, not that long ago, by Ezio. And Ezio then went to Constantinople and overthrew the Ottoman Templars too. And so the Templars are losing, and losing badly. And not a couple hundred years ago, the Knights Templar was eradicated in France by the hands of the assassins. Mm-hmm. So the Spanish Templars are really the last bastion to stand along with the British Templars. They're the ones who have to kind of get things rolling. And so I get that of Philip of Spain being we've got to get these assassins under control.
Which is so funny to me. At this point in time, I don't think there are two countries that hate each other more than England and Spain.
Correct.
It's so funny to me that they're the last strongholds of Templar leadership in Europe. That's funny.
And it's interesting because I really think that this kind of lends this idea of Philip of Spain at least being a Templar, and maybe we'll do Philip of Spain soon. But he leans to a Templar because when he marries Mary I and becomes king consort of England, it incites a rebellion in England, like a straight up rebellion. And it has nothing to do with Protestant versus Catholic. It's that this bitch is not going to be king consort of England.
It's that this bitch is Spanish.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we have to be honest. Part of it is the Catholicism of it all.
Yes.
Because I mean, in England, there were strong supporters of Catholicism and Protestantism, both. Like, I think in a lot of countries, it's okay, we're a majority Catholic supporting, or we're a majority Protestant supporting. But in England, like, it really was, there are both. And that's why Queen Elizabeth does her whole the middle way thing of like, we have to figure out a middle ground here between these two groups.
Right.
So I definitely think there was also a little bit of anti-Catholicism sentiment with Philip marrying.
Right, which is an important thing, like the Protestant Reformation, which I guess technically I think we're still in, like, it's still reforming period at this point, but like it was not just, oh, we have a difference of opinion, let's go form our own church or other things. It was, we have a difference of opinion with one of the most powerful entities in all of Europe. Several countries have long-lasting wars over this Protestant Reformation. It is not a peaceful transition at all.
It isn't. And I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. Like, the Reformation is something that had been trying to happen for many, many years. There are several predecessors to Martin Luther, Jan Hus, John Wycliffe, and others that basically tried to do the same thing. But the reason why Martin Luther succeeded where they didn't is because he had the backing of German princes. So he had the backing of Germany and the German Empire, which the others did not have. So when you have the backing of a huge political empire, you're going to make a little bit more headway. And when you also have the backing of a political empire, your Reformation is going to become political. And it did. And, you know, countries, they fought. And if your country decided to be Protestant, you were Catholic, a lot of times you were killed. I just violent oppression on both sides.
Right. And because a lot of these rulers in Europe at the time, they're beholden to Catholicism and like being excommunicated, while probably very few of them actually believed and like heavily practiced Catholicism, the appearance of being excommunicated could result in them losing control of their country. But when they watched the German princes do this, they realized that, hey, we can defy the Catholic Church and we can be fine if we handle this right. And that threatens that Catholic Church and the very Catholic monarchies, and so they respond to that.
And that's why the super Catholic monarchs become even more aggressive, like Philip, you know. But it's interesting to me that the Protestant monarchies, that they form their own church, like the Church of England and the Lutheran Church. And so there's not a power vacuum necessarily. It gets filled with another religious
that is, and like in the Church of England standpoint, like is controlled by the monarch.
100%.
Like the head of the church is King Henry, and I think that's characterizes why Henry of Portugal and Pope Gregory are so afraid of pissing off King Philip, because if Spain becomes its own entity, I think Catholicism is done in Europe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Spain had become its own religion, like if they had their own, the Church of Spain, it would just be the Catholic Church, but it would be, I mean, it would probably give King Philip like even more reason to want to conquer the world.
Yes.
But that didn't happen.
No. But yeah, that's all we have on this little guy who is King of Portugal. So I wouldn't be surprised in AC Shadows if we hear about King Philip of Spain too.
I would be interesting to see. I'll be interested to see how they portray both Philip and Henry in Shadows. If we even get any mentions of them, any like codex entries or letters or any just like general commands, orders from them guiding the Templars that we see in this game, I'll be very interested to see how they're portrayed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up now.
All right. Well, thank you, Austin, as always, for doing the research. Greatly appreciate it. This is a great tie-in to Shadows, and I'm just excited to see more about the game. So thanks again, and thank you all for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at ACLorecast.
If you have any lore questions or topics to unpack, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. Find us on patreon.com/Assassin's Creed Lorecast. The Assassin's Creed Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode's description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, make sure you give a big thank you to Pipeman Studios. Thank you, Pipeman. Thanks again for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. And always remember, Assassins, stay in the shadows to serve the light.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.
Want to live better? We've got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.